Hi, I'm Mark Mazzaferro, and it's time for another episode of What's the Plan? And with us, as always, on What's the Plan is the star of What's the Plan, Barton Brierley. Barton, thank you for being here today.
You're welcome. It's good to be here.
Barton, Community Development Director for the city of Vacaville. How long have you been the Development Director now? It's been a while, huh?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Wow, and that's almost how long we've been doing this show, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
That's longer than some other shows that have been on TV, isn't it?
It is. It's longer than the original Star Trek series.
Oh.
We've actually run What's the Plan longer than that.
That is amazing. That's a major milestone for us.
Yes, and you remember that kid with the red shirt? He's gone.
He's gone, yes. He's usually gone a couple of minutes into the show.
Yes.
But, oh well, for all you Star Trek, you Trekkies out there, you know exactly what we're talking about. But I got to tell you, Barton, this show is one of our more popular shows, both on the channel and online streaming. You know, it gets a lot of views.
No, that's nice. I've talked to a lot of people who say, hey, we've watched the show, and it's good because it just gives us an opportunity to let the public know what's going on in their city, what affects their lives.
Exactly. And today's show is a perfect example of that because we have several topics we're going to talk about. And right off the bat, accessory dwelling units, also known as
ADUs.
ADUs. Okay, so tell us, the council's going to be talking about those. What is an ADU?
Well, an ADU is also known as a mother-in-law unit or a granny flat. It's a small apartment within a existing single-family house, or it might be an apartment above a garage or in a building in the back that's accessory to the main dwelling unit.
How about converting a garage to a living unit?
Yes, that would be considered an accessory dwelling unit.
Wow, so you can do that now.
You can. You actually can already. What the state has done is pass some laws that dictate how the city can allow them. It actually says that we have to allow them, but it does allow us to put some conditions on them. And so that's what we're taking forward, is an ordinance which would set the conditions under which you could be able to do an accessory dwelling unit.
And the whole idea behind the ADUs at the state level and now down to the city, the local level, is housing. Lack of housing or the need for more housing?
Yes, definitely. That's there's a big housing crisis in the state, and the accessory dwelling unit provides a great option for families that have a mother-in-law that wants to live with them, or a college-age student that they want to rent a room to or something like that.
Sure. So here's something I'm struggling with to understand. Surprise, surprise. What is the difference between an accessory dwelling unit versus renting a room out to a college student, for example, or, again, an Airbnb situation, a vacation rental? I mean, is it just semantics when you get right down to it? I mean, if somebody came to me and said, what are you doing? I go, I'm just renting my room out. Is that against the law? I mean...
Well, there are some technical differences. An accessory dwelling unit is a self-contained unit. So it's got its own kitchen, it's got its own bathroom, it's got its own door to the outside. So you don't have to ever go into the main unit. You can just have that as a separate living space completely.
Gotcha.
Renting a room to a college student, that's where you're sharing the kitchen and the bathroom, and that's allowed also, but that wouldn't be considered an accessory dwelling unit. And the vacation rental or the Airbnb, that's renting a room for a short time to somebody for under 30 days, whereas the accessory dwelling unit is 30 days or longer.
Gotcha. All right, so it's starting to make sense now. So what kind of things are we going to regulate? Things like parking?
Actually, parking is one thing that we can't regulate. We can't require parking. Through the way the state law is written, the cities can't require parking if the accessory dwelling unit's within a half mile of transit. Well, we've got buses that run all over Vacaville, and we ran the math, it's like 85% of Vacaville. So in virtually every case, we can't require parking. But it would require some basic aesthetic standards, safety standards, setbacks, height limits.
Just like almost any other building, really.
Yes.
There are some rules you got to follow.
Yes.
All right, well, that's coming up at a future council meeting. Another one that's, of course, a very hot topic is bed and breakfast ordinances. Where are we at with that?
Well, the Planning Commission held a hearing on a proposed ordinance that would allow some areas to convert homes to bed and breakfast inns. The Planning Commission recommended against that, and so we're actually taking a action item to the council December 12th to terminate that process, and so if the council adopts that, we would stop work on that bed and breakfast ordinance. There was also the vacation rental home part of it, and that we'll also stop work on that, but we will take to council in January a discussion item just to talk about vacation rental homes.
Sure. So you're telling me Vacaville is a tourist destination?
It is. I mean, that's one thing that we heard during the comments. Vacaville is really a very good tourist destination. When you have Visit Vacaville, it's because people come to visit Vacaville. It's a very popular place to stay. That's the reason why the hotel rooms are booked all the time.
Right.
Because people come to stay here. And it's not just to go other places, even though it is a good spot. You can come here if you want to go to Napa or to San Francisco or Sacramento or anything. But there's a lot to do right here in Vacaville. It's great shopping here. You know, the Nut Tree, the outlet malls, downtown. You've got events going on all the time with the Performing Arts Theater and Creek Walk downtown. You've got great hiking out of Lagoon Valley. You know, there's plenty to do. There's great places to eat in Vacaville. I know one thing I tried to do when I first moved to Vacaville was we set a goal to eat at every restaurant in Vacaville and try them all out. Well, 3.5 years later, I haven't got through that list. I mean, there's really a lot.
Well, it looks
of
like you're doing pretty good, though. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I couldn't resist. I've been doing a little experimenting myself. So anyway, but yeah, well, I hear that from people. They go, "We're not a tourist destination." It's like, well, okay, in the strictest sense of the word, maybe we aren't, but people do come and stay in Vacaville. We have several hotels. There's potentially more on the way, and obviously people want to stay in our town, and that has such an impact on and many other businesses in town as well. Why would you not encourage more of this, right?
Yeah, definitely. It helps all the small businesses in Vacaville, which helps local employees, which helps the sales tax revenue for the city, which helps improve our parks and roads and everything else.
Shop local.
Yes.
This section of the show brought to you by Visit Vacaville and the Chamber of Commerce. But anyway, well, another big one we're working on, a lot of cities are dealing with, and not that they aren't dealing with these first two, is cannabis.
Yes.
Another fun one that's on the plate of the city council. So what's going on right now? What can we do? What can't we do? Where are we at?
Okay. Well, first of all, state law has changed, federal law hasn't. So people need to know that it's still controlled under the Federal Controlled Substances Act. So it's really not legal. But the state has passed laws on that. And so what the city has done, we placed a moratorium on it before, so that we can look at the various aspects of it and design our laws. So right now, we aren't allowing any dispensaries. You can't have any commercial grows or any retail sales. So those things are prohibited right now. Really, the only thing that's not prohibited is a personal indoor grow of recreational. That up to 6 plants. The state says we can't prohibit that. So that's really the only thing that's allowed at this point.
At this point, yeah. But part of why we have the moratorium in place is so that we can craft some of our own rules on top of whatever the state's going to allow or not allow or whatever. But the state just came out with this big, and it's on our website, by the way. I've put a link to it. We have a cannabis page under the city attorney department, but and it's pretty lengthy and it's very specific, but there's some openings there too, and that's where we're going to fill in the blanks, I guess.
Yes, it's very complicated and it's changing too. Every time we read it, it's some different rule is passed or some different interpretation. So it's a really moving target, and that's why we wanted to take some time and be thoughtful about it. And there's several things that we need to address. The personal grows, what can you do out of your own home? That's one area. That's probably what we'll tackle first. There's the retail sales, whether we allow dispensaries or how many or where. That's another issue. And then the commercial grows or the industrial grows. If somebody wants to have a warehouse and they grow this for sale, that's another category. So it's very complex, a lot of issues that we need to talk about, and that's why we placed the moratorium. So it gives us some time to do research.
To figure it out.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure we'll in talking with the city attorneys, they're looking at it being a 2-year process to get from where we're at right now to the finish line where we have what we feel is a carefully crafted set of ordinances for this issue.
Right, yes.
So, wow. So is the plan to, and maybe you can or can't answer this, is the plan to bring them forward all at once or as we complete them or?
One at a time. We would think it's good to talk about one issue at a time because, the issues with like a commercial grow are very different than, what can I do out of my house or shed or something like that.
All right, well, there'll be a lot more of that to come. I'm sure
Yes.
we'll talk about it here. We'll talk about it on with the police. We'll talk about it with the fire department. It'll be a topic of almost every show in the next coming months, something to look forward to. All right, now, East Main. It's the project is still alive and still moving forward, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Still alive, still moving forward. We're working with the developer and working out the final concepts for it. And so still moving forward. Everyone should know it's still alive, and we're looking forward to working on that.
So am I. We met the other day. Our economic development team met with someone who's signed a letter of intent to go in there. He's making plans to be a big part of our community this coming year until their big opening when the building is constructed. So he's very excited about coming to Vacaville, and I think a lot of our folks will be happy that he's coming too. So I'm not going to say what it is. I don't know if it's out there yet.
Oh, I think this is a teaser for the next show.
We'll check.
We're going to do a show all on East Main District. That'll probably be
a good one.
The next episode.
All right, so that's good. Those are a lot of good hot topics, and of course the questions that everyone is asking. When's Noah's Bagels opening? Okay, maybe I'm the only one asking. But...
No, you're not the only one.
Okay.
That's we get all the time. Expected January opening. Right.
You go by and you see them. They're in there working on the interior now.
Yes.
So the building is painted the color they wanted with that Noah's Bagel blue, and they have where their sign is going to be all covered up. So I think they're very close.
Yes, and I know somebody brought some Noah's Bagels in from the store in Davis. And
when was this? To your office?
Oh, of course.
Got this little thing here called email, Barton. 5371, buddy.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know. I haven't had one yet. All right, so Rockin' Brews. That was going to open in November, then it's going to open in December, then it's winter 2017. Where are we at with Rockin'?
It'll be a couple months. They're still doing construction of the site, and we've been talking with the contractor. They're moving right along.
Yeah.
Just getting the site prepped, and they're planning their opening with all the stars coming, and all the stars have to align and everything like that. So it's about still a couple months out.
Well, that's another one where I drive by occasionally just to see, what's happening in there, and they've got a lot of stuff going on. I think there's a little more work that needed to be done than they anticipated when they got into that building, but it's moving along.
Yes.
So I like to check on that. Okay, Osaka Sushi is on appeal?
Yes, Osaka Sushi's on Orange Tree Circle.
Yeah.
Over by the auto centers.
The former Texas Jacks?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
everybody knows where that was.
Yeah, so that was a proposal for a restaurant to move into that vacant building.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually been appealed. It was approved at the staff level, and it's been appealed by the neighbors. And so we're still working on scheduling an appeal hearing on that.
That would be the world's largest sushi place ever, I think. What is it, like 6,000 feet in there, square feet?
That. It's got a lot of space.
That's big.
Yes.
But sushi is popular.
Oh, yes.
So, speaking of popular, where's Dutch Brothers? Come on.
Oh, go by there. It's under construction. You can see the outline and the sign and everything. So, they're getting pretty close.
I think there's already students lined up. And that place isn't even open yet.
Oh, sure.
The sign is up there. They were doing the landscaping the other day when I went by. It's looking pretty good.
Yes.
It's, for all intents and purposes, it's almost a Dutch Brothers, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So are you going to be there? Are you going to be like one of the first guys in line for a Dutch, whatever they call it?
Oh, I'm sure I'll
You try to
hang
be
out
with
there.
your
Yeah.
Noah's bagel in one hand and
Yeah.
that I didn't get any of, but that's okay.
Yeah, maybe get a slushie or something there.
Thanks. So what else?
I'll let
is
you know.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, you got I just gave you my
Yeah.
email and my extension.
Yes.
So what else is going on down there in community development? Anything else you can share with us?
We're working still on a lot of big projects. Still working with the developers on the Green Tree project. That's going slowly. We don't expect anything public
Yeah.
there for a while.
There was a little bit of a hubbub there with Green Tree. Did you hear about that?
Yes, they were.
They had up their auction sign.
Yeah,
apparently.
they're just auctioning off some of the old golf equipment, some of the
Yeah.
mowers and golf carts and stuff like
Nothing
that.
to be concerned
Yeah.
about. Return to your homes.
Yes.
So Green Tree, we got a lot of housing. Bright Landing still moving forward.
Yes.
Vanden Meadows,
Abandoned Meadows is still working through the process. Yeah.
the farm at Alamo Creek. Is that it?
Yes.
Is that has that been approved yet, or is that
No, it's still going through
the
the planning process.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
we're trying to address this housing crisis, aren't we? Just by building some houses.
Oh, definitely.
So we'll get there.
Yes.
All right. Well, good deal. Anything else, or have we pretty much covered every possible planning angle that's out there?
Oh, there's still more episodes to come.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about more things. We're very busy. A lot of long-range plans going on, development going on. So,
Excellent.
but it's all good. I mean, I think Vacaville's growing in a good way, and it's all positive.
Well, not only is there housing and there's retail, there's a lot of commercial and industrial stuff happening too now. We're hearing, one of our major developers. In fact, the other day I just saw an article today about Amazon's building got industrial building of the year from the North Bay Business Journal. Yeah, so for the architecture and the design and everything. But yeah, our buildings get recognized. So we're doing something right, I guess, huh?
Yes, yes,
Excellent.
and getting business in and getting employment. It's a good time to find a job.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe I'll be needing to look for a job soon too. Well, listen, Barton, thank you very much for being here today. And thank you all for watching this episode of What's the Plan? We'll see you next time.